Hey everyone, welcome back for another video. It's me, Wintry Will. Today we are starting on Chapter 3 in the additional investigation of the haunting of Manor, a criminal case. So yeah, let's not waste any time and finish this. Find out who killed Hector Fernandez. First of all, everyone's still convicted. Hector Fernandez was killed by a haunted house. And now Ramirez, you give us a centuries-old photograph taken in front of the house and claim that Camila, the victim's housekeeper, is in it? She is in it. The evidence is right there that Camila is a century-old ghost. I'm sure the photograph isn't as old as it looks. There actually seems to be a date marked on it, but it's too faded. Well, would you mind using your supernatural skills to recover the date? Ah, there you are, Captain Will. A patrol unit spotted a ghostly figure trying to sneak into the greenhouse. With all due respect, I honestly doubt that patrol unit saw ghostly figures. It's most probably just some kids fooling around at night, Chief. Or it could be your killer who was trying to break into the crime scene to cover up their tracks. Okay, Chief, we'll go check it out. Well, Will, it looks like we've got enough work to keep us busy for a while. As cute as ever, Will. So what year was the photograph of Camila in front of that house taken in? What the? It was seriously taken in 1841? But that's impossible. Camila can't be 172 years old. Unless she's a ghost. She's not a ghost, Ramirez, and Will is right. There must be a logical explanation to all of this, an explanation I'm sure Camila can give us. Meanwhile, Ramirez, we got an important mission for you. You need to urgently find out which of our suspects used petroleum jelly. I'll use my psychic powers and find that out for you in no time. It's a good thing the killer didn't succeed in sneaking back here to cover up their tracks. Look at what you found, Will. You're right, I wouldn't be surprised if this was the garden knife the killer used to cut their plans to make the hallucinogenic drug. Judging by the blood on the garden knife, it seems the killer is actually rather clumsy with knives. Would you mind collecting a sample? And about this object, it looks like some kind of whistle. I agree, Will. Judging by how creepy it looks, we should probably send it to the lab. Camila, can you explain to us what a woman who looks exactly like you is doing in front of this house in this photograph from 1841? That photograph is of my great-grandmother, Beatrice II, the finest woman that ever lived. And she was also a housekeeper in this house? Of course not. She used to own this house, and she would be turning in her grave if she knew it was now owned by ghastly foreigners. This once great house was passed down from generation to generation, but my brother stupidly lost her family fortune and was forced to sell the house. But I couldn't let foreigners take over the house. I had to protect our lineage, so I turned up here and applied for a job as their housekeeper and gardener. So Camila's family used to own the Fernandez's house? I can't believe she decided to become a housekeeper just so she could keep an eye on it, or maybe on them. Well, she's definitely creepy, but at least she's not a ghost, so you can stop going on about it, Ramirez. Maybe I was wrong about that, but the house is definitely haunted. I'm going to head out there with my ghost hunting equipment and prove it to you. That should be fun to watch. What do you say we head out there too, Will? Way to go, Will. Let's send this blood sample you collected from the garden I found in the greenhouse over to Grace. Okay, I admit it. This place is kind of spooky, but I'm not going to act scared like Ramirez and start whispering about ghosts. Boo. Ghost. Haha, you should have seen your face, Jones. Captain Will didn't even blink. They're braver than you. Very mature. Come on, let's go back to work and no more jokes. Good job, Will. You're right. This looks like some kind of trap mechanism. A trap mechanism right where the chandelier fell and killed Hector. I agree. It's more than just a coincidence. We need to search this mechanism for clues. You're right, Will. I don't think this bobby pin ended up stuck inside this ancient trap mechanism by accident. And I got to say, finding this trap mechanism at the scene of the murder makes it highly suspicious. Let's see this bobby pin off. Let's send this bobby pin off to the lab and see what comes of it. That whistle you found in the greenhouse is actually pretty cool. It's designed to make what is supposed to be ghost sounds. It's often used in the haunted house at fun fairs. I asked Grace to analyze a saliva sample from it, and it turns out the ghost whistle belongs to the botanist Charles Parker. A whistle that makes ghost sounds belonging to a man who we know is in love with Gloria. I got the spooky premonition that Charles is guilty. But you're right, Will. Let's go talk to him first before jumping to conclusions. You think I'm guilty of Hector's death just because you found a whistle of mine which makes ghost sounds? You got it all wrong. Sometimes I walked Gloria's house grounds at night, and if anyone became suspicious of my presence, I scared them away by making ghost sounds. Back up a second, why were you secretly roaming around her house at night? Ever since Gloria broke up with me, I went to spy on her and Hector to see if she really was happier without me. I couldn't help it. What the? You and Gloria were actually lovers? For a beautiful but brief instant. After her baby's death, she buried her sorrow in gardening. I taught her everything I knew, and slowly love bloomed. And then just like that, she ended it. But I've just been finding it impossible to forget her. She haunts all my dreams and thoughts. Oh, the dreaded love triangle, the cause of countless murders since time immemorial. I know, William. I have a hard time picturing this grief widow as having an extra martial affair. I think it's time we got her version of the story. Yes, Charles and I were briefly lovers, but please and try and understand, I was lost after my baby's death. And most people here refuse to talk to an outsider. Charles made me feel a little less lonely, but I soon realized it was madness and broke it off. You see, a child is meant to bring a family together, not tear it apart, and in so memory of Aurelio, I decided to give my marriage another chance. Hector and I started afresh. We fell in love again, and even talked of having another child. But of course, the house was only waiting for me to be happy once again before tearing it away from me. I don't even want to sell the cursed house to another family. Instead, I'm going to tear it down with my bare two hands if I have to. Poor Gloria, that house had taken everything from her. It might not be haunted, but to her, it's definitely cursed. I hope for her own sake that she moves away from this neighborhood, somewhere where people are more accepting of her, of your roots. So I analyzed that bobby pin you found inside that trap mechanism at the crime scene. First of all, the mechanism is an ancient yet highly effective type of winch, designed to automatically pull heavy objects across the room. But your killer modified it slightly so that it pulls down objects rather than across. That's how the chandelier fell down at a great speed. I conferred with Nathan and he agrees that this is how the killer managed to murder Hector while making it look like a supernatural accident. And to make the trap work, the killer added the bobby pin inside the mechanism so that it could support the extra weight of the carpet without making it trigger the trap. So our killer uses bobby pins to set booby traps. I got to admit, that's rather ingenious of them. You're right, Will. Given Camelia's hairstyle, she obviously uses bobby pins. And Gloria must use bobby pins too to make her vial stay in place like that. Haha, that's true. Margaret uses bobby pins to style her dog's hair. Still, we can't rule out the other two suspects just yet. Let's keep our eyes open. You know that blood sample you collected from that garden knife you found in the greenhouse? It turns out it had traces of plant toxins mixed in with it. I consulted with Nathan, who confirmed that those plant toxins were identical to those found in the hallucinogenic drug, which means the killer used that knife and cut themselves in the process. Sadly, the blood cells were badly damaged by the greenhouse pesticides, but I still managed to determine your killer's blood type. Well, thanks to your expert skills and the killer's clumsiness, I can tell you that your killer blood type is A positive. Later that night. Captain Will, I have a confession to make. When the priest was searching the haunted house for paranormal activity, he secretly set up a camera to take pictures at regular intervals. He gave me all the photos that were taken in the house, but they seem to have mysteriously vanished and... Wait a second, you're telling us you have photos from the crime scene and you kept them from us? They're photos taken before the murder ever happened, so I didn't think they'd be any use of you. I'm sorry. Right, well, we know the killer set up the trap possibly days before the actual murder, so there's a very slim chance the camera clicked a photo of them. I've got an utterly feeling that the photos Ramirez lost will be somewhere in his desk drawer. Good job, Will. Ramirez said the photos of the Fernandez house had mysteriously vanished, and like always, they were right here in his desk drawer. The priest took these photos of the house with his hidden camera while looking for paranormal activity, and it looks like he hit the jackpot. See, there's a ghostly figure circled in red, so Ramirez was telling the truth. The house really is haunted. You're right. We should send this photo over to Alex before jumping to such scary conclusions. So I did an in-depth study of that photo that priest took of the house with the hidden camera while searching for paranormal activity. And even though the photo is definitely spooky, it's definitely not of a ghost, but of a real person. And judging by the position of the person in the photo, I say it looks like they were setting up a trap. Since the photo was taken at the crime scene, it must be the trap that activated the chandelier to fall on Hector. Which means this is the photo of our killer. Bingo, now I enhanced the photo, and that's when I revealed a shiny object standing out on the person's chest, and by changing this saturation, the shiny object revealed itself to be a cross. So our killer wears a cross. Thanks for the info, Alex. I hope I'm not late with this information, but I finished investigating which of your suspects uses petroleum jelly. On the contrary, Ramirez, you're right on time with that, with what we could very well be the last piece of the puzzle. We're all ears. Well, Charles Parker uses petroleum jelly to protect his hands during gardening. Margaret says she uses petroleum jelly for Astrid's paws, and then she talked about a million other things while feeding me cookies. Gloria uses petroleum jelly for her skin because she says the air in the haunted house is always cold and bitter. And Father Von Pratt uses petroleum jelly for his chapped lips. Thanks, Ramirez. You're actually been a great help. Well, Will, we got all the evidence we need. Are you ready to go and make this arrest? Yep, I know exactly who it is as well, because I figured it out along the way. It's because I knew the cross was an attribute. The only reason that I didn't figure it out is because of petroleum jelly. Laura Fernandez, you're here under arrest for the brutal murder of Hector Fernandez. Fine, take me away, but don't look at me like I'm crazy. I'm proud of what I did. That liar had it coming.
When Aurelio died, Hector convinced everyone that it was the house that killed my baby boy. I foolishly believed him too. Until recently, when in a drunken stupor, Hector admitted that he wasn't watching our child at night like he was meant to. My baby was always such an explorer, he just loved discovering the world, but that night, he was crawling around unsupervised and he slipped and fell from the top landing onto the stairs. Hector couldn't remember telling the truth, so I decided to make his lie become real. I gave him a drug that made him believe the house really was haunted. The fool called in an exorcist, but that just helped me. The more people believed the house was haunted, the less they would suspect a murder. So when the time was right, I killed him. Now what do you want with me? But I did what any murder would have done. Lord Fernandez, do you have anything to add before the jury delivers their sentence? Whatever punishment you give me cannot be worse than the cruel fate of losing your child. Although not impervious to your sufferings, you had no right to kill a man, your husband no less. I had every right after that monster killed my baby, and then dared to keep it a secret. All I did was deliver justice. Lord Fernandez, you're hereby sentenced to life imprisonment, and let it be a reminder that revenge always begets more tragedy. That case has left me feeling empty inside. Isn't it crazy how a tragedy can haunt you all your life? You're right, Will. It's good to finally see a bit of sun. How about a stroll through the forest to try and let a bit of warmth back into our souls? Congratulations on a job well done, Captain Will. I'd like to close this case, but apparently Mrs. Littlewood encountered a problem at El Manor. She was helping to clean it up so it could be sold, and she found something she wants you to see. Sir, sorry to interrupt, but I'd like to know if people can go back in the greenhouse again. I'm here on my club's behalf. You know, I'm an active member of the Orchids Fanatics Club. And alright, Nathan, we're done in the greenhouse. Your club can meet there again. Now I believe you all have work to do. Hey, Will, you should come to our next meet. That way you could check up on Charles afterwards because he seemed devastated after the trial. That's a good idea. And wait a second, is that Father Von Pratt? Wonder why he came to the station. Let's talk to him, Will. Captain Will, thank goodness you're here. I was afraid you wouldn't have time to come and help me. Of course we came, Margaret. It's our duty to help the citizens. We heard you have something to show us. What is the problem? Well, I was helping Camellia to clean the house, you know. It's going to be sold, hopefully. Camellia will be able to buy it back. That poor woman couldn't handle other strangers in her family's house. Anyway, I was about to clean the hall. The place is such a mess. My help was really needed, but my lovely Astrid suddenly started to bark. She was sniffing around a pot and seemed determined to open it. I know my girl, and she has a good nose. I honestly knew something was wrong with this pot. When I opened it, it was filled with a white powder. I'm scared after all that happened with the Fernandez family. I wouldn't be surprised if it was drugs. I left the pot in the manor and called you immediately. You had to take a look. Hello, Captain Will. Hello, Nathan. How are your orchids? How did your Orchids Fanatics Club meeting go? My flowers are pretty healthy. And actually, I brought Captain Will with me for an introduction to the beauty of orchids. They got quite the green thumb, just as I guessed. Anyway, I heard what happened during the investigation. How are you holding up? The woman I loved turned into a cold-blooded murderer. That was quite shocking. I really love Gloria. I love the woman she was, but that tragic accident changed her more than I could comprehend. So I thought I would do something to distract myself from those depressing thoughts. I wanted to breed a new carnivorous flower, a beautiful but deadly one, like Gloria turned out to be. But I'm so unfocused. I even lost the pollen I needed. I stored it in a vial and put it somewhere around here. Please, Captain Will, can you help me? I really need it. Captain Will, it's a good thing you're here. I need some help. After what happened with Hector in your investigation, I reflected upon my actions. I was wrong. I deceived my parish and didn't live up to my title as a priest. But I wish to make amends, and I'll put the money I got from innocent people to good use. I'm planning a charity fair in our dedicated Scout's honor with a big raffle. All the money I have will go into it, and all the money given will go to our Scouts Association. But the beautiful kite I wanted to raffle off vanished. I misplaced it somewhere in the chapel. Please, Captain Will, it's the raffle's best prize. Can you help me find it? Margaret was right. The powder in that pot looks like a drug. I wonder what it's doing in this manor. I hope it's not something dangerous. Come on, Will. Let's take a powder sample from this pot for Grace. I didn't realize how fun searching scenes could be. I love this place, and digging through it is fascinating. What made you notice this pile of dirt in particular, Will? Did you think the pawn vial Charles lost is in it? Well, I'll let you search through it then. This colorful fabric seems right out of place in a church. People seem to forget all kinds of stuff here, but I bet this is Father von Pratt's kite. If it is the raffle's top prize, we can't leave it like this. Let's honor your reputation and repair it well. Here we go. This powder sample will soon tell us what's inside that pot. It looks like this house still has stories to tell. Let's go to the lab. Amazing, this is the vial Charles needed for his breeding. How did he manage to drop his precious pollen in this pile of dirt? We should give it back to him. I know how good gardening is to relieve stress, and that man needs a good distraction. Do you think he could teach me to breed a new kind of orchid too? Wonderful. I bet the kid who will get this kite at the raffle will be very happy. You did a great job repairing it well. Let's give it back to Father von Pratt. It's a good thing he decided to redeem himself. The community would be shaken if he was exposed as a fraud. My pollen vial. Thank you, Captain Will. Thanks to you, my new flower will be perfect, beautiful, tremendous. It'll be my masterpiece. You already look better, Charles. I'm glad this breeding project is cheering you up. Thanks to you, this greenhouse is an amazing place, and nobody gives as good as gardening advice as you. My orchids look healthier than ever every time I bring them here. Of course, as long as I can take care of my plants, I can get over anything, even this drama with Gloria. Thank you again, Captain Will. The breeding will take time, but come see my new carnivorous plant someday. Father von Pratt, here's the kite you lost. Captain Will found it broken, so you might want to keep an eye on the children who come in here. Broken, but you repaired it so nicely, Captain Will. Thank you so much. With this kite as a prize, I'm sure the charity fair will be very successful. If I still have some money from my shameful frauds afterwards, I'll use it to create churro for the church. It should have a positive impact on the community. Would you be interested in joining the church? The choir, Captain Will? I'm sure the costumes I created will suit you perfectly. Please, you have to at least try them on. So Grace, what can you tell us about this powder we found in the pot from Manor? You're going to be surprised, but this powder isn't a drug. I don't think there are a lot of drug dealers in the historical district anyway. The powder you found is just baby milk powder, totally harmless, although judging by the smell and its color, it's clearly gone off. Baby milk powder? No wonder Ashley went crazy over it. The dog is so used to its master cooking. I bet it could find food anywhere. Let's tell this to Margaret, she'll be relieved.
We're back, Margaret, and we have good news. The powder Astrid found in the house isn't a drug. I'm so glad to hear this, Captain Will. Can you imagine drugs in my own neighbor's house? That would have been so scary, but what was this powder then? It was just baby milk powder. Our expert confirmed it was old. The Ferdinands probably forgot about it after the dramatic death of their baby boy. It became quite smelly, that's why Astrid noticed it. Really, my Astrid is so talented, she'll win every medal possible at the dog pageant. I'm so excited. No offense, but she probably just wanted to eat the powder. She's so talented and beautiful. Aw, my darling, you're going to win for mommy, right? Thank you, Captain Will. Take this. I was in such a state, I just had to cook to relax. And guys, that'll be the end of case 28. I'll see you guys next time when we start case 29. Well guys, until then, I love you all. Get out.